If you're tired of the standard business and marketing fundamentals, frameworks, and funnels, you need a little mischief. Get ready to turn up the volume on the CEO Mischief Maker podcast, where you access conversations with seasoned business owners who have smashed through mindset barriers, innovated the standard boring business and marketing playbooks, and executed future-paced strategies with bleeding-edge tools and tactics to micro-fail their way into massive success and growth. We are Mindset Impact Strategic Catalysts helping innovative entrepreneurs focus. We are CEO Mischief Makers. Ready to make a little mischief? Hey, CEO Mischief Maker, it's MKJ, and I hope you're having a blast listening to my conversation with Teresa. Now, I got to tell you, there are many coaches that I've worked with that have been my clients, that I have coached, and Teresa's process for the real life, for taking real life and accommodating people's real life and what is important to them is second to none. So if you are a coach and you want to be certified in this real life process, I encourage you to go to callmemkj.com/real life, all one word, real with another L, life. And this actual certification will help people take their real self, adapt it to their real life, and do real work that matters. So again, callmemkj.com/real life, all one word, and you will get directed right to her process. Teresa McCLoy is the real deal. Hey there, CEO Mischief Makers, MKJ here, and I get to chat again with my incredible guest, Teresa McCLoy. Now, if you haven't listened to Monday's episode, I need you to go back and do that. I say this every time, and I'm going to keep saying it every time, because this is a process. This is a story that we are unfolding through 3 episodes. And if you don't start with the first one, this one isn't going to make as much sense. It still stands alone, and we're still going to talk about specific topics, but it is so enriched by understanding where we started. So, Teresa, we talked last time about your story and about your book and about your son and about your journey through these mindset shifts of going from workaholic to allowing rest and working from that place of rest. Now, you talked about being a coach and realizing that and basically given permission from people in your life who spoke into you to allow you to do that or recognize that in yourself. But coaching is a basic blueprint, right? I mean, what's the standard, if you could tell me, what's the standard blueprint of coaching? You get someone on the phone and what do you do?
Right. There's the standard blueprint, depending on who you're talking to, would be you get on a call with a client, you kind of make an agreement with them of, what's the outcome going to be? Coaching is a very forward process compared to counseling and therapy, which is really looking back and healing. Coaching is more of a, where do we want to go? Where do you want to grow to? You could have a long-term agreement with a client. You could have a short-term, just one session agreement. People coach in all different, niches and places around business, around life, around all kinds of different things. And so there's the basic concept of, as a client, I'm going to get on and we're going to talk questions. We're going to have an agreement of, here's where I start and here's where I want to end at the end of our session. So that's kind of the basics of coaching.
Exactly. And then that, any coach that I or anyone listening to us might hire might take that basic framework and work from it down to the specifics of who are you, where are you starting from, and where do you want to go? Now, when I talk about in this segment of the podcast, when I talk about impact and innovation, I'm not talking about innovation like the Elon Musks and the Steve Jobs of the world. I'm talking about, although that would be wonderful, billions of dollars, sure, take it, bring it
sign
on.
Up.
Yeah. But really this is taking that framework and innovating it and allowing yourself to embellish it and take it in a direction that really comes from who you are, where you've been, and where you're going. And so from that, that coaching idea, how have you innovated coaching in that way?
I love the way you describe that, that word innovation, because it is. And I often say there's two phrases I use. There's nothing new under the sun. It's our spin on it. There's very few things. And the
Yeah.
people you mentioned are doing those things, right? The inventors of the world. I'm not an inventor. And some people say, oh, you have your intellectual property, you have your content. Yes, it's really more the way I've innovated it to put it together and package it and tell the story and create the process differently. So there's nothing new under the sun, and it's not rocket science. Those are my two phrases. I'm a pretty simple farm girl. But one of my gifts that I do think I have is the ability to see systems and processes and patterns, and to say, how could I explain that pattern to you in a pretty simple format that you could repeat over and over? And so that's what I did. And I decided if I was going to live my life from new behaviors, rhythms, and routines, so that I didn't go back to workaholic behaviors and I knew how to be aware of those, I had to have kind of a framework to work from. I had to have some rules, some guidelines, whatever you want to call them, that said, what are you going to say yes to and what are you going to say no to? And how are you going to plan out your time? And then how are you going to sustain it through the rest of your life? That piece is key, I think, because you and I both have been in this world for a long time and in this world of business development, coaching, and all the things. And there's a new book coming out all the time, right, around these types of things.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say, can I stop reading all the books in some ways and just say, can I develop my own personal framework? And then can I teach others how to develop their own real life process? And so that's what I did. I innovated the idea of coaching and said, there's kind of 4 key things we can come around. What's our real life being? Who are we in our gut, in the internal space of who we are, belief systems, needs, values? What are the big rocks that matter to us, the areas of focus? What's my life statement? All of those kinds of things. Then how do I take those things and continue to grow in them? How do I take action around those things in the next year or two? Where do I want to be? That's kind of a goal statement around those things. How do I put it in my calendar, in my everyday, ordinary life, and live it out? Because your life and my life look differently. We're in different seasons than someone with 4 little ones running around, all that kind of thing. And then how do I sustain it? Through rest, through renewing, and reviewing on a regular basis. It sounds really simple, and it is, but yet the depth of it, when you do it over and over again, and the self-discovery. So it's from the being to the doing. And again, it's forward motion, like the coach process that you said, and then innovating on it and saying, okay, I can give people a repeatable process that they can look at every 90 days, back up on the balcony of their life. Not a real year-long person. I'm more short, incremental, doable around a big vision, but
Yeah.
let's break it down. And I did all that really from my own experience of kind of looking at other processes and systems and saying, what works for me? Okay, that, and that. Let me reframe that and innovate it. Just like you said, that's what innovation is.
It is, because I agree. Nothing is new. Billions and billions of humans have been on this planet before us, and hopefully billions after us. So, we're human beings, and it really is, there is really is a thing called a human condition. And, our software hasn't really been upgraded in a long, long time from that
And we're
perspective, right?
creatures of habit, right?
Yeah.
We are creatures of, once we get the right habit, the right behavior, and I don't mean right like, oh, it's correct for you and for
Correct.
me. The
Yeah.
right one for you
Yes. Yes. Yes.
is different than the right one for me. And we put some practices underneath. It really does allow us to live with deep breathing and deep breath and be very satisfied with who we are and what we're doing, rather than, I don't know, do I measure up over here? Do I have this over here? Do I have running around with my phrase is your hair on fire? Now, that's not why I have gray hair, mind you, but but that's an early genetic thing. That's not a
Yeah.
real thing. But
Yeah.
yet there is a difference in how you feel. Now, I'm still super productive. I know you are
Oh,
too.
yeah.
I get a lot done in a day, but I do it from a different energy than I used to. And that's the only way I know how to describe it. And when you find that for yourself, when you discover your real life process and it all kind of aligns, you go, oh,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
mine, which
And
everybody
that's,
doesn't love, right? Because they'd love for them
yeah.
to be all the same and cookie
Oh,
cutter. And I'm
yeah.
like, nope,
Yeah.
sorry, you got to do the
Yeah.
work. You've
Yeah.
got to
Well,
do
that's
your own
it.
work.
And it's easier that people think it's easier, but in the long run, it's harder to just have
Mhm.
someone tell you what to do. Just tell me what to do. What should I put on my calendar? What should I say here? What should I do there? When should I rest? What should be my morning routine? What should be this? Just tell me.
Yes.
And you think it's easier, but it's not. It's actually in the long run, it's harder because it's going to, first off, it's going to be much harder to sustain because it's not yours. You didn't
Yes.
put it around your own life. So
Yeah.
you're going to find it very difficult to stick with something that someone just tells you what to do. So I love your innovation of this in the sense that you allow people to bring themselves into the process, not just allow, you expect people to bring
I
themselves
do.
into this process.
And that's why I loosely use the word even personal development, because
Yeah.
it's about you developing it and you filling in the blanks, so to speak, to your own framework and process, which does require some work on your part. But as we know, if you don't invest in it, and sometimes that investment means I'm there because I've hit the wall.
Yeah.
I'm there because I'm done. Like,
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm ready to try anything at this point, which always takes me back to, when my son was in recovery and so many people like hit the wall. Well, as entrepreneurs, as people that pace and race and go, we're hitting the wall, a lot of us.
Yeah.
And saying, I probably need to do this differently. So, so I've loved just innovating that process to say, what is possible for this to look like? And it's a great process. I love working with it.
Okay, hold on. If your mindset was shifted, you were inspired to innovate, and you were spurred into action, don't just move on with your day. Focus, my friend, and take a few minutes to visit CEOmischiefmaker.com to learn more about the value that was shared with you today. Please act now and create some CEO mischief of your own.